class on becoming a creator and magician with Oracles and EFT, a course that we'll be offering shortly, September 2nd upcoming, and you'll get some very fascinating information and experiences today in this intro class. I'm Phillip Mountrose with my wonderful partner, Jane Mountrose.
Hi, everybody.
And
good
it's
to see you.
Good to be with you. And you may not have thought of yourself so much as a creator and magician, and maybe you have. And we'll be focusing on what we call a divine magician today, with special purposes to tap into a higher life, a higher frequency. Hey, hi, Anna. Good to see you.
Hi, Anna.
Speaking of magicians and creators.
And
this
friends.
is, and friends, for ascending souls, this class and courses, we're going to help develop your awareness and skills starting today, supporting you in your next steps, realizing your full potential, sometimes the life you were born to live. And for those who don't know us, we've been around the field for over 3 decades. We're considered experts in energy healing and spiritual coaching. We've been doing this for many years and creating a lot of products, materials, communicating with people, individual help as well, and training a lot of spiritual coaches and healers and teachers too. And we offer what we sometimes call a practical mystery school teaching. And this would be a taste, a sense of it today. And this has been what we've written about in our newest book, Awakening to Your Magnificence. The subtitle, Your Journey into the Next New Frontier for Humanity. And this is about you and the collective, how you can make a difference and what that means. And it's very practical, and it sounds fairly abstract at first, but I think by the end of the class, you'll see this is very practical and doable and accessible, and perhaps some of it you're already doing. Jane, did you want to mention a little bit about the magic, becoming a magician and creator?
Yeah. And I know some people think, well, magic tricks. This isn't at all what we're talking about. And I think that'll be clear from what we're discussing today. We've explored magic as an element of who we really are, that we have magic within us. And in our own lives, we've been able to really bring a lot of blessings to our lives from that realization. So we're really excited to be able to share this kind of information. It can be of great benefit for accelerating your spiritual growth. Many of us speak now about ascension. If we're wanting to move into a higher dimension, the things that we call magical here are just the things that would be normal in that kind of a higher perspective on reality. So welcome. We're happy you're here, and it's a great opportunity to awaken to yourself as a magician and creator of your life.
And just briefly, what are we talking about? Magic, as Jane says, we're not talking about stage magic or magic tricks, entertainment magic. The channel Lazarus defined magic. I think this is a good, concise description for us. It's consciously using your will, your imagination, and love to influence your reality. So something very practical, something actually that sounds, wow, that's kind of what I've been studying and doing all along. And there are very practical ways to do this. And we'll connect some of it with quantum physics today and what we call quantum consciousness. So today, we want to go on, touch these 5 points. I gave you a little slide for this for organizational purposes. That we go into in depth in the 12-week course coming up. But today we're going to start to explore your source of power as a creator and sacred magician, our approach to spiritual awakening, the overview of the territory, including quantum consciousness, some tools and practices, and how to enliven and activate being a creator. So all of that is in store for you. It's obviously a beginning point, and it's exciting that we can participate more effectively, individually and collectively together as we keep teaching these courses on spiritual, being a spiritual guide. And the upcoming course, Becoming Creators, Magicians with Oracles and EFT, is part of 3 courses. All 3 are called Becoming a Spiritual Guide. First of all, for yourself, and if you choose to help others too, to awaken with the tools and practices. So it's more than just profound information, knowledge, some of it downloaded, some of it transmitted from higher realms. It's actually interaction, a small community, and experiences directly so you can apply it to your daily life. So, Jane, we're going to talk about the source of magic, expanding your reality.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people wonder where the power comes from in magical practices. We don't use magic wands, but you could say we could actually. They can be an extension of your own consciousness. Excuse me. We do, no, I shouldn't say also, we don't use magic wands. One thing we do use, and in the whole spiritual guide program, is oracle cards and tarot cards. And we use them in this case as magical tools. But then people wonder, well, that's kind of ridiculous. They're just pieces of paper. And that's true. That's the whole point. The foundation of everything that we're talking about here is that you are the magic. And what we're doing is finding ways to extend that magic that you have in you into your life and into your perspective on reality. So we'll present tools knowing the magic is not in physical objects, except as an extension of your own spiritual power. And I think when you think about that, that's pretty interesting. It allows us to transcend what we often talk about, the illusion that we're limited. There's this fundamental lie that humanity as a whole is living under, and we're bathing ourselves in it like fish in a fishbowl if we're not thinking. The delusion is that we're not enough, that we are limited, that we are not powerful. So, what we teach here is how to break through from that illusion. And that's, of course, that's what this book is about that we wrote. How we move into the new frontier, which is that we are powerful. We are creators and magicians, and when we can open to our true power as magnificent spiritual beings, which we talk about a lot now, um, it's an integral part of the journey for us. Of that whole, it's really, you could say the journey as a whole is a transformation of how we perceive ourselves. So if we have transcended the point where we ever perceive ourselves as being limited and not able to be creators of our lives, then we're done. But I don't know of anybody who's done. So we're just, you could say, on the journey. We'd often speak about the spiritual journey, and it really is. It's a journey to living a full life, to being the fullness of who you are. And of course, again, the shift we're seeking lies in us, in who we perceive ourselves to be. So I want to start with just a little experiment or exercise, you could say, and it's just about thinking about yourself. And I think all of us have times when we think we're not enough. For instance, like, oh, there's just, I'm not as good as that, or that isn't possible for me. um, and just allow yourself to feel that for a moment. It's not something we're sticking with, but we need to make a point here. This is where humanity as a whole is. It's not enough, victims of forces that are larger than ourselves. And it's really the dark side, you could say, of the reality that we're living in. It's the part that weighs us down. So just notice then, when you're feeling that way about yourself, how you feel about potentially being a magician and a creator, and being able to actually influence your reality. It might feel pretty pretty unlikely that you could. If you turn it around and notice, and it's just this simple thing, there are times for all of us when we feel good about ourselves. So just allow yourself to feel good about yourself now. Maybe about something that you're really good at, about a time when you were experiencing just feeling good, maybe out in nature feeling good. Maybe imagining yourself now for a moment on top of the world, opening to your potential as the creator of your life. And notice if what feels possible when you're coming from that perspective. And of course, Philip did also mention coming from love. We'll be talking about that in a moment too. That foundation of perception of ourselves. And when you feel that way, a lot more seems possible, right? And you might even think, yeah, magic, it might actually make sense from that perspective. It is that transformation Wallace Wattles, we refer to him sometimes in his writings from the early 1900s. It's from being considering yourself a victim to being a creator. So this is a friendly world. When you're feeling good, the world seems good, everything's fine, it's not dangerous. And so what we're drawing on today is that important contrast between these two realities and how we can use magical practices to bring us more in tune with that place where we see ourselves as creators. So the illusion, just to to bring it to another clear point, I guess, to clarify, most people feel they're living in an unfriendly world, right? It's dangerous. I can't I don't have the ability to I guess avoid all of these pitfalls that are around me. There are so many dangerous things happening. We're victims of forces greater than ourselves. We lack the power we need to change our lives. It's kind of you might feel when I say those things, if you can just let yourself feel it, whether that's you or not. The point is, you might start to notice your energy is waning, like your vital life force. You might just feel like, whoa, I'm starting to feel your posture might start just fading too. Um, so it's time to transcend that illusion. That's what we're looking at, and go to the truth. We live. Things are good. We live in harmony with the universe, and the world is a friendly place. So it is also, you could say, the foundation is on our perception of ourselves and a perception of the reality we're in. Whether we think, well, look at all of these potential dangers out here. What do we actually believe that we're subject to those, or are we looking to a higher source? And we'll be talking a lot about the field of pure potential or infinite possibilities. When we open to being one with that field, which also you could say is the divine or source, the oneness, life is much different. So you can see yourself on top of the world, asking what else might be possible other than this reality that we're taught and told is the truth, the whole truth of human experience. So we can just collectively imagine ourselves standing tall, reclaiming our sovereignty as creators. And sovereignty is a really beautiful world. It's a beautiful word too. Sovereignty. Think of yourself as a sovereign, magnificent spiritual being. And I wanted to just share something kind of fun. Um, we use hand gestures a lot now, mudras, they're often called. And I wanted to show you one. So you can do it right now just because it's kind of interesting to do something different. So what you do is you have your hands spread out like eagle wings, and you're going to put your right hand closer to you and cross the left, and then just cross your thumbs. And then hold your hands in front of your heart and just feeling yourself flying like an eagle. Just open to what that is. You're free. Opening now, just you can have an affirmation here, which also is going to be what we're using for the EFT process we're doing today. I open now to the field of pure potential. It's that field of infinite possibilities where anything is possible and miracles are happening now. just notice when you perceive your reality that way, when you perceive yourself as having the capacity to fly like an eagle, how does your reality feel? Hopefully, much better than when you focus on what you might see on TV most of the time. And of course, that's we're opening a lot to that intuitive sense of what's happening here. We also want to we have right brain and left brain. We want to bring the rational mind along too,
Mm-hmm.
the doubter in us. And it's interesting because science is a great way to bring the heart and the head into coherence, and also it's actually validating all of these things that we're talking about here. So, Philip, you want to share a little bit
Yes,
about
I
that?
do. And for the people who are live here, if they have any questions or comments, they can put it in the chat as well. So I'm going to put a few pieces together, actually quite a few big pieces together here in this next segment about sacred magic and quantum consciousness, showing how quantum physics has relationships to um, spirituality. And even though there's some things that they haven't gone as far as that. And I'm going to be drawing from our new updated book that we use in this course, Becoming Creators and Magicians, Awakening to the Power of Quantum Consciousness and Sacred Magic. I'll be drawing from some of that now as I give you an overview of some of this. Um, the nice thing is that as you become a creator, you become more aware of the territory that you're in. In other words, what do I have influence on? What do I not have influence on? And so, in other words, we're talking about becoming more aware of your thoughts and your feelings and your choices. And um, this is a shift in the old science, which many of us who are older grew up in, and to the new quantum science. I have a quote here from Marianne Williamson that is a good summary. Old Newtonian physics claimed that things have an objective reality separate from our perception of them. Quantum physics reveals that as our perception of an object changes, the object itself literally changes. Uh, so that's another way of saying that as you're viewing things, things are very different. You know, if you have what seems like a loss, um, I had a situation just the other day when I woke up and there were a lot of ants all over our kitchen. It seemed like things were in disarray and I was set back for the day. But this was a small thing. This was part of life, and I got it cleaned up and went on and had a very good synchronous day. I didn't say, "Oh no, the day is ruined. What a horrible day. This is a terrible omen," and and sort of identify and ruminate and keep that negative momentum to shift that into a positive momentum. So this is a way of changing our perceptions of the world, how we're looking at the world. And quantum physics says that the world is very fluid. It's not fixed. It's not determined like the old science that many of us grew up being taught, and it's still sort of there, that everything is materialistic, everything is based on physicality. Rather, quantum physics shows, and it's measured, it's scientific, this part, that you can measure fields, energies, uh, and underneath it, this underlying reality that things are coming out of this big field, this quantum essence, you could say, and the potential is things could be created from it. And then there's what's they call in quantum physics entanglement, that different objects can be immediately connected. It's interesting. We're demonstrating that right now. I'm talking and you're listening and you're hundreds of miles away from me. And it's instantaneous because we've chosen to be here today. And of course, neuroscience and psychology backs us up, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, how you're behaving, what you're choosing. That's going to affect your outcomes. I mean, that's sort of common sense. Um, and sacred magic comes in saying that, yes, you can be a deliberate creator. It takes it a step further than what science has gone so far, because the science paradigm is very useful and a very powerful resource, but by itself, it can only take us so far. If you want to start living this reality, you need to go further. As someone said, is I don't want to just do research, I want to do search. And then you go further. Instead of search, you go from searching to living what you are finding and applying that. And that's what we're doing here with the sacred magic, the higher magic. Again, as Jane mentioned, we're not talking about, I'm not going to do any magic tricks for you or any illusion, any stage magic, of course. Uh, the real magic, the higher magic, is based on laws and information that came from ancient times. And a lot of this comes from even before BC, 300 BC, and it was in different societies, Egypt and before, and coming on down. And some of it crystallized in a figure who was sort of legendary combination called Hermes. Hermes Trismegistus became the legendary figure, and the universal laws that he wrote about that govern the universe, different ages, like in the Renaissance and in the 1900s, a book called the Kabbalion kept looking at and figuring out that we are governed by divine uh, cosmic laws, kind of just like gravity. There's certain things that, and as Jane said, the fish in water, when you know you're in the water, you can start to say, wow, this temperature here is too hot. This is a dangerous part of the water. This is a better part of the water. But if you're just swimming around randomly in the water, because that's what everyone else is doing, i.e., where the mainstream often is, you're not aware of the possibilities, the higher possibilities that the sacred magic can lift you up to, because you start to find the hidden relationships, the hidden order of the universe. And one of the first cosmic laws, and we'll be studying these universal laws in our course, is all is mind. What does that mean? All is mind. So that could be considered the mind of source or the mind of God, God's mind. We are part of God's mind. It's an extension of who we are. And as we become more aware of that, we transcend the lower laws, the lower limitations. And that's where we call it higher magic, but it's just ordinary things in higher realities. It's just like telepathy would be very normal in higher realities. And sometimes we have senses of that when we open to it, or if we have skills or things that help us more open to that. And of course, this course is all about teaching us how to do that. And as we do it individually, we awaken, and collectively, it's a lot easier as we open up to more divine knowledge and spiritual awakening so we can participate consciously in the order. Remember, I said that definition of magic, consciously using your will, your imagination, and love to help shape your reality, to create your reality. And these are things that the universe works on so we can have transformative experiences. So just a couple more brief points, and I know I covered a lot about quantum consciousness and sacred magic in 5 minutes here, but that's why we have a whole course, because there's so much to it. But that gives you a little intro. Another just key quick points is a lot of this is found where? Where is it found? In the moment. How do we stay in the moment? And that is partly having this beginner's mind, this where we open up together individually. That's why the oracles and the tarot cards we use, um, the pure potential process that we'll be doing more of that Jane did a few minutes ago. All of that opens our mind to childlike wonder, where we see the possibilities in things. And we see new things that we haven't seen before and receive a lot of blessings. Um, I could get a message too, and you also connect with higher guides and angels, which we like to do throughout the course, which I think I could do just get a quick message here for a moment. Jane, did you want to add anything before I get a message from, I'm going to kind of draw on Archangel Michael today, because he said he was going to help us out with the course.
Right. I wanted to also mention that Archangel Michael came to us and suggested that he would be happy, of course. The archangels are happy to connect with us, but it seems like he particularly wants to help us with this course. So Philip thought he
Yeah,
might have
yeah. So Archangel,
a
we're
message for
drawing
us now.
we're drawing from cards from the Keepers of the Light, which is a bunch of ascended masters and angels and higher beings that we connect with directly and through the card readings in the course. So it's fun to explore that. But let's just get a message from Archangel Michael, see what he has to say to us today about becoming creators and magicians with oracles and EFT. Yes, dear ones, I am here. You may think of me as a strong protector, and that is part of my role, but part of my role is opening you up. Yeah, you are all eagles now in the making, are already being made and flying to new territories together. And it is a wonderful experience, isn't it? With much love, Archangel Michael. Thank you.
I don't know if other people experienced. I was Philip fading out a little there. Yeah,
Yes, he froze.
yeah, yeah. So we'll just make a note of that. Um, so are we ready to move on then?
We are ready for some soul centering and opening to magic.
Right. So anyone, and I know some of the people here do, know that we have a foundation, a process that is really a foundation for everything that we do, because it brings out that love part that Philip was referring to, that the truth resides in the heart. And for us, it was more than 30 years ago now. Yeah, quite a bit more. When we first discovered this, we've been looking actually for years at that point for how do we access our own truth? How do we access our intuition? And we finally connected with some spiritual teachers who taught us this simple process. Because if you open to the truth in your heart, then the truth is pretty clear. And so that's where we started really learning about healing and teaching spiritual things. And it has led us on this journey that we've been on for these many, many years since that. And it still is the foundation for me and for us, because this is where you could say this is where the creator resides in you. And it's important if you're wanting to consider magical practices or anything related to your evolution to know where to look in you for the truth. We said all of the magical power resides in you, and this is the place to go. So it's interesting if you consider the contrast between the soul, the heart and soul, the soul being a more prominent part of your experience of life, and what in most cases is the wounded ego in people, this part that actually has not found its way into the wholeness of who you are, being in control. It is really about then coming more and more into harmony with that sense of who you are in your heart. And going back to what I said about feeling good about yourself, if you connect with the love in your heart and you're able to just be in that space, which we're going to do in a minute here, you'll get a different perception of yourself probably than you have generally in life before that, before you were able to make that connection. It's I think just this one thing is a life-changing experience if you practice it. And what I learned how to do that is just practice it every day and started seeing, well, gosh, it actually is a very different reality when I feel from my heart. And of course, um, the heart the heart is that part that is also from that place of love able to open that to that infinite field. So I want to do a brief soul, what we call soul centering process, heart centering. It's centering in your heart, and inviting Archangel Michael to join us. Archangel Michael being one of the archangels who is very active in helping humanity to ascend, to rise to another perspective in life, to shift dimensionally into what many people believe is the fifth dimension, that's where we're going. So for those, if there are people out here who are not familiar with Archangel Michael, his divine gifts include empowerment, helping us to empower ourselves, to love ourselves. And he also offers protection. He, many people who are aware of him know that he has a sort of light to cut through lies that hold us in limitation and to help us to connect with truth, which is ultimately what we're doing here. Magic, it's not just like this fun fun thing that we're going to produce, a dove or something. This is life we're talking about, the truth. So if you're comfortable, this would be a wonderful time to close your eyes and just start breathing. We talked just a moment ago, Phillip talked about wanting to be in the moment, which is where everything is. So we just breathe, bringing your attention away from all of the thoughts that might be going through your head into your body, knowing that you can breathe in the most amazing light and love and peace and joy, whatever you choose from that field around you, from the universe around you. So breathing in all of those beautiful energies. And as you exhale, letting go. You can even sigh a little bit if you want. Letting go of anything that feels dense or heavy, anything that might be weighing you down, that you might sense within you or in that ball of light that surrounds you. Breathing in light and love, and then letting go of anything that is not that. And at the same time, then asking any energy that is not your own in your space within that ball of light that is you. Ask any of that energy. We pick it up from other people, other times, other places. Could call the mass consciousness thought forms that are all around us. Just ask any of that energy to go back where it came from. Sending it back with love, with the intention of having, just be surrounded by your own light. A lot of times it's hard for us to feel like we can be present as ourselves because we've taken on so much that is not us. You might feel that there's a difference. And in a similar way, we leave bits of ourselves with other people in other times and places. You can just ask any of that energy of your own that can come back into your space to bring it back now. Just bring your own energy back from wherever it's been left. And this, just then feel yourself present in your body in this moment. You might notice a difference between where we started and where we are now. Inviting Archangel Michael also to join us and bless us with love. His energy is often experienced as an electric blue light. You can just, if you're open, just ask him to bless you. The perfect light for you now. You can feel that again within you, light and love. Might feel that sense of empowerment and all around you. If you're worried about protection, can just imagine, ask him to surround you with a ball of protective light. That may make you feel even more present in your body in the moment. Opening to that love. The archangels, they're all divine love. They're beings of love. And when we ask them to be with us, we benefit from that. We can receive that. So just open now to breathing in love, focusing now on your heart, breathing in that beautiful love and light from Archangel Michael. And he suggests you might even want to put a hand on your heart to emphasize that place in your body. You can even cross your hands across your heart. Just feeling the love that you hold within yourself, within your heart, and allowing it to expand out from your heart into all of the cells in your body. The cells also love love. They are intelligent. Each cell is like a world in itself, or a universe in itself. So radiating out from the heart into all of your body, and then surrounding you with that beautiful, loving light. And just breathing. You might also feel like you can expand that space around you, your ball of light now. We contract ourselves to fit in, to protect ourselves. Now you can expand. You can just be yourself in the moment now. Again, focusing on who you are from the perspective of your heart. Your heart understands you too are divine love. You too are worthy of every possible good. Each of us is a unique divine being who is here for a reason with something special to offer. And in this time, we are in a different time, awakening to a new age, the golden age. So we come, people like us, we come for a reason, and each of us does have special gifts. So this is part of what we explore also when we connect with the truth of who we are in our hearts. We can get the truth about what our gifts are and what our next step is. So a lot of the confusion and doubt can start to wane as we feel more comfortable being ourselves. Again, in the moment, in our bodies, being blessed and being a blessing to the world. And this is what Archangel Michael wants to emphasize, that we are blessed. We're surrounded by beings of light who are supporting us for the asking. The archangels come to us when we ask for them to come because of we have will, that we have to be in the lead, you could say. They honor our will. So just feel the brightness of possibilities. Again, in all of the cells of your body. And then we're going to come back. And the nice thing is, it's not like you have to leave this behind. Part of what we're training ourselves to do is to be able to be in this place, connected with who we truly are always. And that's where our power as magicians and creators comes in. So just breathing in more active energy, bringing you back to your normal waking state. And taking your time, you can just open your eyes when you're ready. So, Philip, I forgot to ask if Archangel Michael had anything else to add.
Well, I can check
And
in
we missed part of it before. Maybe we can.
Yeah, maybe me do it
the
again.
Fullness. Maybe you can get the fullness of it this time.
I don't know what happened that other
there.
time. Yeah. Because when I do that, I go into a very deep place, so I'm not quite sure what is happening at my auditory level and stuff. But I have my microphone cued. We're good to go. Let's check in with Michael again. And he is here. He's always here. They're always here. They're everywhere, just like air, just like all the higher beings and all the people on the earth. We're always here. There's energies that's connecting, and that is non-local. That is the instantaneous that the quantum talks about, which your science has a way of um, measuring. But in reality, it goes much further than that because we are all here live in the moment. And it's just a matter of reaching out and determining who you want to connect to. It's calling someone up on their phone. Um, but we feel that if you do focus on love, that will be one of the best things you can do to protect yourself. Because what would be a loving thing to do in the moment? And the loving thing to do may be to protect yourself or to ask for protection if you're in such a situation. But usually it's more reaching out and finding how to be with someone in a more loving way. And we are thrilled that you are exploring that now. Much love, Michael.
So are we getting ready now for the pure potential process?
We're ready for another experience. And as we mentioned, this is a practical mystery school which trains people throughout the ages on how to connect deeper with their soul and to spiritually evolve and to help others do so. And in this next little segment, where we will talk about enlivening magical practices, the pure potential process with EFT that we've referred to already. And one thing about this is if you're here live, certainly, or watching the replay, it means that you have a motivation to do this because part of it is the motivation and having support to go further. Because I'm kind of figuring that you all are interested in becoming creators and magicians, and you're in a certain stage of already doing that. And if you're just starting out, this will give you some good primer things to start with. But if you are more advanced, like I know some people are, this will give you some advanced tools and some other things you can do that are very practical. And we know that works. And it's a field of exploration. It's the quantum field of exploration and what's sometimes called quantum potential. So what we're doing here is for this moment is removing maybe some of the fears and doubts that could be getting in your way of going forward. There was a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway years ago. And that's one strategy, and that has a certain limited effectiveness. But it's better to find out why you're afraid, isn't it? Because when you're afraid, you are in survival mode. If you are in survival mode, your potential is very limited. And I mean, if your life is in danger, you may have to just figure out how to survive. But if you're not in that situation and you think you are, you're limited to just a few options. Whereas if you are in the more thriving, more flourishing, more field of pure potential, you have all kinds of possibilities, things that are normally outside your radar. And that's where the magic can come into your life.
Can I just add
Yes.
something to it? I think something that I feel holds a lot of people back, even when there's nothing big happening. We often kind of tolerate a certain level of anxiety. It's just like a background noise. Could be fear, but just we're anxious.
Mm-hmm.
We're not comfortable just being in our body in the moment. And that prevents us from being able to realize our full potential
Mm-hmm.
because it's a scale. And when we're in that place of limitation, we can't also be in that place of magic and miracles.
Mm-hmm.
So as Philip does this, I think looking, I'm not sure what you plan, but if there's nothing else, you can just look at anxiety or just any kind of low level of discomfort
Mm-hmm.
that you might tolerate
Oh yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah,
And we're opening to infinite possibilities, pure potential.
we are. And
Feels
that's
good.
feels good. And I sometimes say about and I think it's important for all of us, and I certainly take this personally, about waking up on the right side of bed. How you wake up is important. Are you
Yeah.
waking up with that, when is this shoe going to drop? You know, and then something happens to confirm the shoe dropping, you say, I knew it, I knew I needed, I knew that was, so you're sort of confirming your negative thinking and the magic is all gone. There's no possibility. Whereas if you use your power of imagery and imagination, which is what we talked about as part of sacred higher magic, that's where you have more success, you have more power. Um, and quantum physics has given us some paradigms, some resources that, gee, there's all this field of pure potential, these field of possibilities. And as we access them, we bring them into reality or make the probabilities more likely to happen. Um, in this process, this short process, I'll do it as a group. And when we have our course, we often do individual things because we have a little more time to individually work with people every week and collectively do this. But the EFT is a simple tapping process, which all of you may know by now because it's pretty much out there in the mainstream, of tapping a few pressure points and saying an affirmation. And and as Jane said, we could start with, even though I have this doubt or anxiety or just something that makes you feel a little off, there's something little throwing off your reality. And that's the first part of the affirmation. And then the second part was, I can now open up to the field of pure potential where anything is possible. I can now open up to the field of pure potential where anything is possible. And we wrote about it in our book, The Awakening to Your Magnificence, which is part of the course resources. And the EFT tapping points is the top of the head next to the eyebrows, the side of the eye, under the eye. And you tap about 5 to 7 times firmly under the nose. These are key acupressure points under the mouth, the collarbone, under the arm. And we do what is called the reset process for our version of EFT, which we've written a lot of books about too, and trainings. And the top of the head, and we could say anything is possible. I'm opening up to the field now of pure potential. That's integrating the left and right brain, the whole brain. Breathing.
Right. Tapping on both sides lightly.
Lightly. And then finally tapping your heart for the reset process, integrating your heart. Opening up the field of pure potential now where anything is possible. Breathing. So that's the process. And we could do it as a group, and you might just notice where you are now, that little doubt or anxiety, that little thing like, oh. Another little phrase that's out there is, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, which is kind of a strange thing with shoe dropping. What is that? But it's that thing that's going to happen. You're sort of bracing, you're looking for the negative, sort of, you're bringing it into your reality. When something does happen, you'll be more able to handle it when you say, this is part of the journey, and this is going to teach me something, show me something to resolve it. Doesn't mean that I'm lost or I've lost. As one person said in a cooking show after they lost the contest, he said, well, I didn't lose, it was a lesson learned. So that, I thought that was a nice, encouraging thing to look at the world. That's a more magical way of looking at it. Okay, so you start now with your issue, your little doubt, your little anxiety, whatever. And you can put, as Jane said, we could put our hands over our heart. That's one way of starting. It's saying the affirmation, even though I have, or part of me has this doubt, this anxiety, fear, reservation, whatever. I now open up to the field of pure potential where anything is possible. We could say it again, and you can say it under your breath or just aloud. I now, even though I have this,
and
you fill
anxiety,
it in. Yeah. I now
open to the
field of
of
pure potential where
anything
anything
is
is
possible.
possible. And finally, even though I have this
This
blank,
anxiety,
I now open up to the
I
field
now open to the field of potential
where
where anything is
anything is
possible.
possible. And we tap on the EFT, the acupressure meridian points, the top of the head lightly 5 to 7 times. And you can say the word release. That's often said as a good thing to say it. Then the either side, that next to the nose, the bridge of the nose, tapping lightly 5 to 7, release.
Eyebrow.
Next to the eyebrow, on the eyebrow. Side of the eye, release, tapping lightly. Under the eye, release. Under the nose, release. Under the mouth, release. The collarbone, that ridge, that bone that sticks up underneath that, release. The side under your arms, pits, and tapping, bracing yourself, release. And finally, the reset process with EFT, opening up to the field of pure potential, tapping across your head, breathing. and then tapping across your heart. And anything is possible now. Breathing. Just noticing what is happening. You may be noticing some tension releasing in your body, being more open, more expansive, a little more aware. And these are little primer, little things you can do regularly to kind of set you on the right track to be a sacred magician every day. But if someone
I feel happy.
happier, you
I
smile
don't
on
know
your,
why it just
the
made me
frown
feel
turns
happy.
into a smile. And if you want to say anything aloud or say something in the chat, we welcome, any comments or questions from that, because that's interesting to get a little bit of feedback too from people. If you're willing to share, that's great. So far, people are a little shy on that. Okay. It's okay. So we're talking about realizing your full potential, which is what we're doing here today, and becoming a creator magician. Because if you are, you're going to be realizing your full potential, of course. Jane?
Right. And so I have another little exercise, and this one actually is something that we teach in our um, holistic coaching and healing program, because it is so clarifying, I guess, for people. And this is focusing on realizing your potential and deciding from what we've said or what you understand or a combination of all those things about wanting to realize your potential, awakening to more fully to your true identity as a creator, a magician, a miracle maker, anything along those lines. Um, what we want to do now is to have you focus on how important it is for you to be able to open in this way, to magically realize your heart's wildest dreams, to blossom as a creator and sacred magician. Just feel that in your body, and ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, like it doesn't matter at all, or 10 being it's really important for me to open to my creative potential. Just ask yourself and measure it. This is nobody's going to question you on this, but just honestly, how important is it? And notice how it feels emotionally, how alive it makes you feel to consider yourself a creator, to consider that you are truly a magnificent spiritual being who is here for a reason with something special, uniquely special to offer that no one else can offer, because we're all unique.
Mm-hmm.
Just feel that again, measuring on a scale of 0 to 10. And now imagine you decide, well, I don't know. It's I'm safer staying where I am. I mean, I'm not sure about this. There are no guarantees here. So I think I'll just stay where I am. And just imagine how that feels to you and feeling in your body. We talked about energy, how alive it makes you feel to think, well, I'm going to settle for where I am now. It feels safer. And it's almost like thinking of what might not be possible instead of what it might be possible. But whatever, really just be honest with you. Because it's not for everybody. And again, scale of 0 to 10, and then notice the difference. So for some people, and we've used this for many different things in our coaching program, where if something is really important to them, like an 8 or a 10, and then they think of not doing it, which is then the aliveness, how that feels to them, how that feels in their heart, to just give up on their dream. It can be maybe a 1 or 2. And it starts becoming, and I'm not suggesting this is the way it is for you, but it can be a case of life or death. Like, am I going to choose life? Am I going to choose not fully living? And of course, you have many choices of how you move forward on your path. We're not suggesting this is the only one, but I think it's an important thing to a way to determine for yourself clearly what you want to pursue in your life, so you can use this. It can be something as simple say a person who maybe is wanting to stop smoking, and they're not so much now, but earlier in our careers, we would have people call, and someone might call and say, well, gee, I really want my son to stop smoking, and I'd be happy. I want to pay for a session for him. And so we say, well, that's fine. I just want to talk to him about it. And so we talk to the son, and he says, well, in terms of, we ask how important it is. And he said, well, it's around a 5.
Out
And
of out of 10.
yeah, 5 out of 10. And we tell him, well, we don't think that it's going to work if it's a 5 out of 10. And this is a really important point in life too, that something, whatever it is that you want to pursue, it has to be something that really feels right to you. Like, it feels like it's important to you to do that. If he said, well, gosh, I would be so happy if I could quit smoking, it's a 9. And then you say, well, what if you don't do it? And he says, well, gosh, it's a 1. Then he could really feel it. And that would be a motivation for him to move forward in that way. So I wanted to share this with you because it is such a great way when we're wavering. You find yourself, well, do this or do that, to look for the things that make us feel most alive, most engaged in life, most like we're following the path that were designed for us in our lives. That this is a wonderful exercise to use to get that distinction between do it or not do it. So if being a magician and a creator is for you, we really do encourage you in whatever way feels right to you to pursue that. And I have an affirmation for this too. This is an affirmation that I have on my desk written down that I use. Philip mentioned that idea of in the morning waking up and what do you think about? These are the kinds of things I would think about. So the affirmation is, I am magic in action. I am a miracle. Life is miraculous. But just going back to I am magic in action, just feel what that feels like in all of the cells of your body. I am magic. I am miracles in the making. I am one with the source of everything good in the universe. I just wanted to share that. It's a favorite of mine. And it is a good way to start your day. Just recognizing you are one with God in your heart, or with the creator, however you define it in yourself. Like, I am one with source. And I'm here for a new day of blessings for myself and for everyone I encounter.
Mm-hmm.
So again, as Philip was saying, what we say to ourselves is so important all the time. What are we saying most of the time?
Right. So as we're getting to a close, as we touched on some important areas of what we call our mystery school, there you may be aware of that term from ancient Egypt. Yes, you're welcome, Wilma, for that affirmation. She enjoyed that as I did.
Oh, good. Thank you.
The mystery schools in ancient Egypt are going to be a little different than ours today because we're using the internet, and who knows what they had back then that was like the internet then, but they're relevant to what we know and can do and apply today. And we are very practical in applying this to your soul's journey. and it's going to help you, I think, have self-realization, as it's sometimes called, more spiritual growth. And as we have these different practices, and we shared a few today, you can see being with a focused group, a wonderful small group of spiritual people, it's a community, which is great. And you can't find that. And I mean, it's nice to have AI and have that as a resource, but that doesn't replace a spiritual community or a live training or a mystery school teaching. And what we'll be sharing in the upcoming course beginning September 2nd, a couple weeks from today, approximately, um, opening to this wisdom of the soul. We certainly started doing that today. Living in harmony with the universal laws. We talked a little bit about all is mind and the law of correspondence today. Something it was refined, those laws, in 1908 by a book called The Kabbalion, but it started with that Hermes Trismegistus book thousands of years ago and kept on being updated as we're updating it really right now with all of our attention and focus on it. Connecting with higher guides, we did that today. And Archangel Michael, thank you. Clearing blocks with wholeness, we did an example of that today. We didn't get into the Oracle and Tarot readings, but they're really magical. People just are amazed. If you want to develop your intuition a lot and have practical, tangible ways to do it, uh, we would encourage you to learn how to work with oracles and tarot, which you may already have. We have specially selected decks for this course that are really attuned to what we're doing, and a lot of other tools and practices that we'll be doing throughout. And as I mentioned, this is one of three courses, this upcoming one, Becoming Creators and Magicians with Oracles and EFT, something we keep updating since we did it a year ago. We've learned a lot and grown a lot because this is such a new field that we're just finding and discovering things weekly, Jane and I, and just trying this out and working with other people and clients and classes. So it's exciting, and we can all do this collectively. And that's how we grow individually and as a group. And of course, it's going to help humanity, even though that sounds like a big step. What you can do. And I know one of our students was saying she just felt overwhelmed because she listened to the news one time before one of our classes, and it's easy to get in that state like we were tapping for pure potential, and that happens to us all, of course. But with the tools and resources that you'll be having and the group spirit, it makes things a lot easier going forward. And fun and exciting too. Um, uh, and let's see,
Can I
Jane,
say
go
something?
ahead.
Just
Go
one,
ahead.
just with the tarot and oracle cards, we're using in this course, we use them for readings, but we're also using them as magical tools.
Yes.
So we're using them in a different way than we do in any of our other courses, and it well, it's to me, it's all just really a lot of fun. Um, it's magical, it's profound, and we're just really grateful that
Hmm.
we're able to have these resources and to have so many beautiful ones available to us now.
Yeah, it's amazing with that you can have them in hard copy and on the internet, guidebooks. And the course begins September 2nd, and Becoming Creators and Magicians with Oracles and EFT. It's part of one of three courses. You could take any amount of courses you want. It's very affordably priced. It's a great way to grow at your own rate. They're all recorded if you can't make the live sessions for about an hour and a half on Wednesdays, depending on where you are. And Jane, would you like to add a few final comments? And by the way, the resource page, which I want to, I mean, the page where the course is found, I just want to show you that too. Um, and that's, nope, that's not it. Excuse me. I have to go back. I'm gonna, I'm gonna stop and get the right page for you. But go ahead, Jane, while I'm looking at and getting
I
the right
wanted to
page.
just add a few tips. Technically, when we actually start this course, this class that we just taught is going to be considered part of it, part of the training, because it provides a nice overview. We also wanted to suggest some homework if you're planning to join us.
Right.
There's a lot to learn and to integrate, so you could start right now, um, reading the that ebook that Phillip mentioned that we have just actually completed it. We from the course we taught it last year. We've integrated a lot more into it. Awakening to the Power of Quantum Consciousness and Sacred Magic. You could read that, and also daily we would recommend, and we recommend this for everybody, connect with your heart. Connect with the love in your heart. Know that the best place to be is in a state of love and light, connected, feeling that sense of connectedness with everything. Divine love is energetically a state of connectedness. So it's like connectedness with all that is rather than separate from all that is, which is where most people are, right? In the state of separation. So that's really valuable. And then remember the importance of what you tell yourself. Those few things I mentioned, like I am magic in action, and my breath is delivering magic to every cell in my body. You could do variations. I'm the magnificent soul I was born to be.
Mm-hmm.
I am
Yep.
divine. I am in tune with the infinite. Affirmations, the things we tell ourselves are they're they are converting actually into chemicals in our body. They're part of our whole reality. If you can say, I am divine, and you are. It's truth. What we're doing is speaking truth. I am in tune with the infinite. And then we'll be talking a lot about bringing that youthful sense of magic and wonder into your life. We'll talk about the magical child, and even we have an oracle or a tarot card deck. And I know Anna, we talked about this years and years ago. This deck,
Right.
it's still one of my favorite card decks. The inner child cards. Part of it is opening to childlike wonder. There is that idea and it's in the Bible, which you know some people reject it. Well, Bible, no, but that idea, like the way to go to heaven is as a child. When we open to that magic, that wonder, that belief, belief in life that childlike part has in us, that magic. I wear every day. I wear one of these little rings. I actually got them. I got a set of them at Walmart in different colors. You can hardly see it, but it has a little diamond in it, and it brings me to that place, and that kind of leads us to where we're going next time too. How physical objects can become part of your magic, and part of your everyday lives. So this is just a lot. And of course, using that pure potential process with EFT to clear. And if you do notice, even just a low level of anxiety compared with being able to feel I'm divine, there's a big difference there in how your reality is going to be perceived and what that's going to cause to happen. Because what we think is what we become.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, those are some ideas if you want to move forward, and we certainly would be delighted to have you
Yeah,
in our
if you want
class.
to join us for this transformational journey, I'll put up the page I was looking for from our website. It's gettingthrough.org/guide, getting through that. And this is the course with becoming a creator and magician starting September 2nd. And it's very affordably priced. You can have payment plans or single payment. And you just go to gettingthru.org/guide to go there and to
Yeah.
enroll. And then you can order your guidebooks, order your Oracle decks, and there's a lot of resource materials to get going. And you're going at your own pace. Some people are going to have a lot of time to go fully into a deep dive, and some people are going to just get to it as they can because everyone has a lot of things going on. We understand that. But think of your life. Would it be better having being on a track to be a creator, a magician with instruction, mystery school training, support, wonderful community, or not, because it's easy to get
Mm,
isolated and alone, especially when you're interested in this kind of thing. And a lot of people around you are not, or have no idea what you're talking about, even though it would benefit them and everyone has access to all of this. Uh,
mm. Just another thing I thought of,
yes,
if you sign up early,
yes,
you can order the decks of cards that you'll want to have for the course. You don't have to have anything. We're not telling you need to have them per se, but these are the ones that we're going to use. So those are all identified on your resource page, and you can go ahead and start investing if you're ready
yeah.
in
So
them.
that's great. It's been great being with you in this introduction, and I know many of you were already connected with, and we'll connect with some new people. And until next time, this is Philip and Jane Mountrose helping us all become